quite a few questions, but I'll go first to joined equanimity, because otherwise we won't be able to cover it. But I will try to answer them as we go along. Okay, so we did love, the wish for somebody to be happy. We did compassion, the wish for others to be free from suffering. And sympathetic joy is, the definition is happy, being happy with someone's fortune or happiness. Sympathetic joy here refers to the potential of bliss and happiness of all sentient beings, as they can all become Buddhas. So basically this is this awareness that everybody has the potential to be happy. And everybody has a right to be happy, in a way. So then whenever we see other people that are happy, then it should make us happy, especially, you know, if you have this compassionate mind who wants others to be from suffering, so when you see other people being happy, it should actually make us happy. Yeah. But then, so the near enemy is hypocrisy. Like, you know, oh wow, you know, the dress you bought is really nice, but actually, wow, you know, thinking that it doesn't fit her or something like that. Faking to be joyful. Yeah? Do you see what I mean? Do you do this sometimes? Yeah, of course. Because we don't want to be honest. We don't want to say, oh no, this is not nice. And we're afraid that then they will stop liking us when we're honest and say, oh, actually, you know, I think it doesn't really fit you, or it doesn't really suit you, whatever. Now the opposite is jealousy. And jealousy is a mind.
Envy or jealousy, because there is difference.
Yeah, so it's jealousy, okay?
Jealousy.
Yeah. Jealousy is always kind of paired with anger. So jealousy and arrogance kind of come together. Okay? Not being happy with the happiness of somebody else, that is jealousy. And jealousy always feels bad. Jealousy has no, well, it can have some positive sides, and it can be very effective. It can kind of drive you to, you know, push you to do things that normally you wouldn't do because you're lazy, but because you're jealous of somebody else, then it's this competition kind of thinking, yeah. So, but it never feels good. Desire sometimes feels good. We're looking forward for something pleasant, so it feels good. Anger can also make us feel good, gives us a lot of energy, yeah. Whereas jealousy, it prevents you from seeing the good things that you have, and you can't enjoy it. And the jealous mind is a mind who kind of sees the whole world in a, like, you know, the whole world is no good, or something like that. You cannot see any factors for awakening. You cannot see any factors for joy. So again, all these mental states, they work like filters. Yeah, so when they're up, then we feel them in the body somehow. But then again, when you go into the body, when you feel these emotions, they don't really feel different. Then you feel it's actually just energy. It becomes what your conceptual mind, kind of the veil that it puts over this energy. This is then what it becomes. And the way we see the world at that point is looking through the filter, looking through these sunglasses, or let me just finish, looking through these sunglasses of jealousy, okay? So this is the opposite of rejoicing. And jealousy is a real loser emotion, because with the desire, so we get what we want. With the aversion, we can ward off what we don't want. But jealousy doesn't take anything away from the other person, it just makes you feel miserable. Yet we suffer from it a lot, yeah? And it is paired with arrogance. When we think we have qualities that we don't have and somebody is better than us, something like this, we become very jealous. It's also paired with a lot of fear, not having what you want, not having enough, and all these kind of things. It's a horrible emotion. Still, all of us, we have it. And again, it's fixated on the I.
Yeah, I mean, there are situations when people that are inspiring us.
Yeah.
So when you are inspired, you want to be like him.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of also
Yeah.
a cousin. I mean,
No, it's not a cousin. It's totally different. You see, with jealousy, you kind of you compare yourself with others, and it's not because you just see that you want to become like this, to see that just for the goal. You want to show something. You want to kind of put the other down, because arrogance is always kind of in it. Yeah. So if you have an aspiration to become like this other person without anybody getting harmed on the way, but jealousy is like, if I want to get as high as him, he is the boss, and then you use all your you use your friends to kind of to become the ladder, also to help you to get there. So that's different.
So
Aspiration, you're inspired by somebody who wants the same qualities. Where's the harm?
because also with inspiration, you can look at yourself, well, I'm far away from him, and I'm not. Like
Yeah, but how does it make you feel when you're inspired to go the same way? Does it make you feel the same way as jealousy?
No, because when you
Yeah.
are inspired, you have the desire to be.
Yeah.
Different.
You have joy. It gives you energy. So it's a good thing. We need to know where we want to go. So where's the problem?
I mean, sometimes when I'm inspired, sometimes I look where I am and say that I'm so far away, and he's so this type, and I'm so far away. Even if I want to have the same qualities.
Okay. So how can we see whether it's jealousy or not? Even when you think I'm very far away
I
from
think
that.
that if you have a positive desire to
Mhm. There's a very clear distinction.
The battlefield is aggression inside.
Huh?
There's aggression inside.
Absence
No,
of
no. There's a very clear distinction to see whether it's inspiration or jealousy.
You're not full, you're absence of something. If you're happy that
You don't do anything.
Exactly. With jealousy, you're not happy that this person has these qualities. With inspiration, you're happy that this person has these qualities, so you can aspire to go the same way. Then it's not jealousy, then it's an inspiration. Yeah? Jealousy is an unhappy mind. And the mind who very clearly sees, I am so far away from that, doesn't need to become depressed, for example. A mind that is still, even though I know I'm very far away from that, I can just think, well, but I have a way, I have a living example. That means good thing that he or she can live that. Good thing that he or she, let's say, was able to forgive, although like it was in the Holocaust or something like that. And we see, I get angry when somebody took my parking spot. Yeah. So then we see this as an inspiration. For example, if you look at the Dalai Lama, who has absolutely no hate for the Chinese army, yeah, and he lives a happy life. So when I see this, also I can see, wow, I get angry or upset when somebody doesn't put the cup in the right way. So, but wow, I really want to know how to become like him. This was my first kind of. When I read the book, My Land and My People, and I read about, that he had zero hate for the Chinese army, I was so inspired. I thought, how is that possible? And I was inspired by this, and I thought, I want to find out how one can do that. Yeah. So then it's not jealousy, it's an inspiration.
But
Jealousy is when you're not happy that the Dalai Lama is so forgiving.
no, there is a point when you are blaming yourself why you're not this and this and this, and you are so far away, and
Yeah.
there's no chance you can get there, and so on and so on.
Mhm.
That's not jealousy either.
That's low self-esteem. That is a form of laziness. They call this, there's 3 forms of lazinesses on your path. One is you just point blank lazy and you don't like to make effort. The other one, laziness, is you're constantly busy with worldly activities. And we see that in the morning when we decided to sit down. All of a sudden we think, oh, I could put the washing in the washing machine first. Oh, but now I could make the shopping list. Or, oh, I could maybe see if somebody's, wrote a WhatsApp. And then these activities become so important that we forget enlightenment about them. Yeah. So being too busy with worldly activities, this is for spiritual practitioners when we know they're not getting us anywhere. That is also a form of laziness. Then the other form of laziness is when you say, I can't do that. Not trusting and not believing your Buddha potential. I mean, you hear this again and again and again from the teachers, that this path is long and it is difficult. And we don't want to believe it. We think, but for me, there should be a shorter path. For me, it should be easier. They all say it's difficult, it's painful, you need a lot of effort and perseverance and patience and all this. Yeah, that's good for the others. But I want to go the quick way. Yeah, we have endless time. The mind doesn't stop, so it's okay. Yeah, is it clear with the jealousy? So a very nice antidote for jealousy is rejoicing. Maybe you move your chair a little bit so you don't have to, kind of as if I would be throwing things at you, and so you hide behind the pillar. We can adjust, like patience. Okay, it's okay to be patient and to accept the situation. But if we can adjust something, also it's quite okay to adjust. So a result which one needs to avoid is spaced out bliss, which can easily turn into laziness. Because I just told Sarah, well, we have a lot of time and all this, and that again can go into laziness. Because we're joyful, we're happy with everybody who is happy, we lay back, because it's true, that's what they say. This is the easiest practice you can do, because you create a lot of positive karma by rejoicing with the good things of others. So you can do that lying down by thinking, wow, this one is well, and this one is well, and the Dalai Lama is still around, and people are going to their teachings. By the way, I received a message that Geshe-ma Kelsang Wangmo, she will be the official German translator for His Holiness the Dalai Lama when he's teaching in Dharamsala. So that would be for you a reason to learn German. Okay, because for the English, I think it's still Tenzin Zepa, the official translator. So whenever you have webcast, then because they want to offer 10 different languages, they're about to create that, or it looks like this is already created. So because German until now was not offered, because usually the Germans speak very good English, so all of them listen to English, most of them. It's quite rare. It's like Israelis. It's quite rare that people who go to Dharma teachings do not speak.
Yaki, will send Yaki.
One day we'll have a formal...
You have to request.
You can ask her.
You have to request, but that means he has to be in Dharamsala.
So we...
No. You have it on the web. No, you have it on the webcast. Yeah, this is why. This is what I'm saying. They put it on the webcast also, not just when you are there, but everywhere in the world where you are, you will be able to listen to it in your language. So, but first ask Yaki if he wants to move to Dharamsala every time that His Holiness is teaching, because he has to be there.
Every time?
Well, yeah. If you want to translate, you have to be there.
Yeah, but every time, if we make it... Okay.
Well, I think if you offer it, you have to offer it every time. Otherwise, the English translation is offered
I'll
every
start
time.
with Yaki.
Huh?
I'll start with Yaki.
Yeah. Ask Yaki if he wants to translate into Hebrew, and ask the private office if it's okay for them also. So, huh?
Okay.
First Yaki and then the private office. So first the private office and then Yaki. Okay. So, spaced out bliss, again, it's not, everything is okay. The spaced out bliss is a bit like, yeah, everything is okay, everything is empty, everybody has Buddha nature, everybody will attain enlightenment at one point, because that Buddha nature is kind of poking us all the time to say, hey, you could be in a better way. So that has to be, or should be avoided. So, there's a note here. Sympathetic joy is a great antidote to depression for oneself as well. But this should not be the main goal. Like, if you practice sympathetic joy, it should not be the main goal just for you to get rid of depression. But rejoicing in others' progress on the spiritual path, one can actually share in their positive karma. Yeah. So, in general, our ego-clinging mind, unless it's somebody that is really close to you, unless it's somebody that you love. So here again, we have the love. When you love somebody, even they're much better than you are, have better qualities than you are, you rejoice. Yeah? Whereas when you don't like somebody, then it's very difficult to rejoice. So first learn to rejoice consciously. Again, it's about consciously, not just unconsciously kind of doing things, but very consciously. Wow, this one is well. How wonderful. May he or she never be separated from that happiness. And then we start to go higher and we say, may they never be separated from the happiness, from the lasting happiness that comes from recognizing one's true nature as being empty of this identification with this I or me. Yeah, so to have the happiness of that. So we go that far. Is that kind of clear? Sympathetic joy is an unselfish, very positive mental attitude which is beneficial for oneself and for others. In this case, it also refers specifically to rejoicing in the high rebirth and enlightenment of others. So how can you practice this? What do you think? Is this difficult to practice? Huh? No. You go in the street and you consciously look for people who are well, or patient, or inspiring, or generous, or whatever. Yeah? And you say, how wonderful that they are so generous. How wonderful that they're so patient. How wonderful that they're so well, they're so happy. It's very easy. So the depressed mind does not want to do this. The depressed mind cannot bear happy people around them. I don't know if you ever noticed it. Yeah, you totally get on somebody's nerves who is depressed when you are well, and you show your wellness. So if you want to help somebody with their depression, maybe not to show them that, hey, but look at me, I'm suffering as well. But open up and show your vulnerability, and don't kind of show off how well you are. That is not really helping them. Also forget about yourself when you are with somebody who has depression. But the depression has a very, very strong identification with this I that cannot do anything, will never be able to do anything, is making a lot of mistakes, and so on. It's very, very strong, it's very, very big. And the moment you could kind of crack that shell to make the person laugh, then the depression kind of lights up for a short moment. But the mind of depression itself really, really clings to that depression and really makes a lot of effort not to laugh at your jokes. Don't know if you have noticed. No? So again, it's not for others, for us, that we help others to relieve their depression. This is for us to hear. When I feel that I'm getting depressed, I need to go to stay around happy people. Because the mind in depression naturally sees everything bad and sees all the problems that will happen in the future. Nothing good is there. Yeah? So then when you feel that you're plunging, try to go and see happy people and then rejoice and think, okay, I'm a Buddhist practitioner, so I should rejoice with the happiness of others. I am not so happy now, but it doesn't really matter. The main thing is that they are happy. Yeah. And don't spoil their happiness by kind of coming with your, like the Polish mother. Oh yeah, you can go to the party. I'll stay at home miserable. But I'm so happy when you are happy. Not like this. Yeah. So instead of dragging them into our own depression, let them be, because laughter and joy is very contagious. So let yourself be contaminated by their joy and by their laughter. All right? Yes?
How about ambiguity, about mixed feelings? Can I be jealous at someone and yet still happy at the same time?
Not at the same time for the same person, but not at the same time. But 5 minutes later, yeah. It's two minds that oppose each other. They're not able to stay in the same moment of mind at the same time. Do you see what I mean? So you can be, at one point you are quite happy that the person is so happy, but then you feel the jealous mind coming in, then you're not happy anymore. Yeah. Then again, it's kind of difficult. Is it then just jealousy, or is it low self-esteem and I need to be the same position, or what exactly is it? Yeah, don't know.
Because it's, you might have like a very good friend and then
Yeah.
you get scared. How come I'm jealous of him?
Yeah. Then you need to look, why am I jealous? Why can't I just rejoice? And then again, it's the same technique it's the same kind of method for everything. You let go of the story and you come to the sensation of jealousy. And then what remains is just the energy of maybe rejoicing, but the edge of the jealousy is being taken out. And you can use very consciously words like, so wonderful that he has this. But because, you see, for us to feel good about ourselves, we need the affirmation of others. And in order to have affirmation of others in our society, you need to have certain things to be good. You need to be either rich, or you need to be either beautiful, or you need to be either very intelligent and smart, or famous because of something. Then you will get affirmation from outside. So this is why we're so addicted to praise. And because we don't believe ourselves that at the base we are okay. Yeah. So we need somebody to be the witness and say, yeah, you are okay. But the goal is to become really self-sufficient. When you make mistakes, you admit the mistakes and you try to amend. And when you do good things, you think, wow, well done. Yeah. So with this whole thing, arrogance, jealousy, and all this, we always need other people to compare with. Yeah. Whereas a healthy kind of a healthy self-esteem is like saying, I am trying here. I'm putting some effort into that. So for the moment, it's good enough. Okay. Yeah. It's quite frightening when we see how that we can have jealous feelings towards friends, isn't it? Yeah. So get at it, look at it. Yeah. See, well, in what way, how do I feel now with this jealousy? So just by being with the sensation of feeling jealous. Does it take anything away from his good qualities? No, it doesn't. Does it give me any good qualities? So we use kind of logic reasoning to work with it. Okay? And then also when you feel jealousy, then you go like, okay, jealousy is an emotion that comes up when there is a subtle understanding of I lack something. Yeah? I need this in order to be happy. So then you look at this again, is it really reasonable what I'm thinking? Do I really need that? Yeah? And then we open up again. And we think, well, no, actually all I need is love. All I need is to have an open heart. So whether famous or not famous, it doesn't really matter so much. Yeah? So in order to become famous when you're very rich or very beautiful and all this, you don't really need that much. But in order to become famous when you have a good heart, you need a lot. You need to be like the Dalai Lama or Desmond Tutu for kind of people noticing you. Yeah? And it's really a shame. So many things are promoted in our society. Yeah? Good heart, it's not promoted. Yet we all want it, yet we all yearn for it. Not so much, unfortunately, me having a good heart, but we all want people around us with a good heart. So when we meet people with a good heart, then we feel at ease, we can trust them. We're happy. But you can even get jealous of them. I mean, jealousy on the spiritual path is a very common thing. Especially around teachers. When a teacher gives special attention to one person and constantly kind of ignores you. So when a teacher ignores you, it's a good sign. Means you don't need the attention. If he gives you a lot of attention, it's not such a good sign. Yeah, a teacher is like a doctor. He pays the most attention or spends the most time with the people who need it. Why would you spend time?
Like at school.
Huh?
Like at school.
Like at school, exactly. So then, instead of getting jealous that the teacher spent so much time with this other person, you go, wow, but I'm having all these qualities. I don't really, why do I want to take the attention of the teacher? Yeah. But again, even with teachers, you see, I see the games that are being played. Instead of going and telling them where I lack energy or where I'm stuck in my practice, first we start, I did this and I did this and I did this and I did this. This is like going to the doctor. You actually know you have a heart problem, but first you go on half an hour about how good your stomach is. Because, you see, we project into a spiritual teacher that I have to be a good student for the teacher to like me. And unfortunately, that's what sometimes ordinary teachers do. I mean, definitely my teachers did that because I wasn't a good student. So you're kind of left aside, you know. They work with the good students and you are but you'll never learn that anyway. This is what I heard sometimes. Luckily, I don't know why, even though I was always full of fear, but somehow it didn't affect me so much. Because also I was not interested to have the interest of the teacher. Because I didn't really want the interest of the teacher. I didn't want to be the teacher's kind of friend. Yeah, they were all my enemies, which is totally stupid. How to say? Stupid attitude, because then you can't learn anything. So like this. The antidote to jealousy is rejoicing, and then you rejoice where it comes easy, not where it gets really difficult. And slowly, you know, you also can start to to rejoice with the fortune of those people who have harmed you, actually. Yeah, because then you're not suffering anymore. This is it. This is the thing. As long as you keep that arrow in your heart of having been harmed, you just keep harming yourself. The moment you can pull it out and open your heart towards that person has lost control over you. As long as you still feel the hurt when you think about this person, then you are under the control of this person, even though the person doesn't even think about you, but you give that person a lot of power over you. So out of self-interest, actually, we should have an attitude, a wish, to let go and to forgive. And if it's big things, please go and find professional help that will help you in that process of letting go. Because when you have to touch that pain fully of what happened, when the bubble bursts, you need somebody there to catch you. Okay? And I'm not a psychotherapist, so I know the Buddhist teachings. The Buddhist teachings are actually for people who are quite stable. And can take these teachings on karma and how the mind continues and how the mind has created the situation itself, and that is just a consequence of an action. So the Buddhist teachings are not a solution for everybody who has problems, by the way. So be careful, yeah? Today, psychotherapists, they have a lot of good methods to make you feel safe and all these kinds of things. If you can find somebody who has been, or who is a Buddhist practitioner, really a practitioner who has studied Buddhism and practices it, plus, combining it with psychotherapy, that's the best. That is really the best. Because sometimes the Buddhist methods are too strong. They're too cutting. Yeah, so you need to build the person up first. And I'm sure by now there are books about this, how to combine these two things, isn't it? Yeah. Because a lot of therapists also see that there is a lot to learn from Buddhism. Okay? So sympathetic joy should be easy to practice, I think. But it needs to be practiced. This is the thing. Just hearing it here, and then again allowing the mind to go into these jealous states and all this, and not, again, the same thing. What you do first, you say stop, and you're not allowing your mouth to say, yeah, he's really well, but at home he's got a lot of problems and this and that. It just looks as if he's happy, but he's not, and all this. So he says, no, I'm not going to badmouth this person. Yeah? And then you start to apply the methods of how a method, for example, that, okay, he's more successful than I am. Why?
Causes and conditions.
Yeah, what causes and conditions?
Education.
Education. He's more intelligent. He worked harder. Yeah, his karma is in such a way that he has success. I don't have enough positive energy. I don't have enough positive karma, so that my effort kind of brings these fruits. So then, what do I do as a Buddhist? I go back to my cushion and purify and create positive energy by being generous, by being patient, by having ethical conduct, and so on. Yeah. Okay, then you change perspective. You put yourself in the shoes of the others. Wow, he must be so happy. How wonderful that he's so happy. And again, with happy people, always this thought. As long as they're happy, it's much easier for them to keep ethical conduct. It's much easier for them not to harm others. Yeah. We know that with ourselves. When we're happy, sometimes we also come out of the house and we have totally open heart and we're happy. We have no wish to harm anybody. No wish. Zero wish. Somebody kind of bumps into you and they apologize. Oh yeah, it's okay. Yeah. If you come out with an unhappy mind, they look at you in the wrong way. You're already that, you get upset. Why are you looking at me like that? Yeah. So as long as people are happy, then that's okay. You can relax. So we can rejoice. Yeah. You change perspective. You're happy for them. And then you try to see the solid jealous mind. Once you have calmed down a little bit, you try to see the nature, how it is just energy. It's blocked energy. That's all there is. Because it fixates on me. I don't have this. So therefore, and jealousy thinks, if the other doesn't have it, I will feel better. But it's absolutely not like that. And as I'm saying, joyful, sympathetic joy is also a very good antidote to arrogance. Yeah? Arrogance is a mind that there's different kinds of arrogance, but it's a mind that either competes or thinks that you are better with the ones that are equal, or you think you're even better. Even when it gets worse, then you thinks that you are better than the ones who are actually better than you, or thinks that you have qualities that you don't have, and all these kinds of things. But also thinking that you're the lowest of all, this is also a form of arrogance. Because again, totally based on me, I am the lowest of all. Yeah. So when it goes that way, as I said, then it's good to always think about your quality. when you suffer from low self-esteem, open up your heart. First rejoice with the happiness of others, then you become more spacious, and then you think, okay, I'm jealous, but I also have qualities, and you remember those qualities. You bring them back to mind. Okay. Yeah.
Small question. What's the difference between joy and sympathetic joy?
It's the same. Sometimes it's called just joy, sometimes it's called sympathetic. The question was, what's the difference between joy and sympathetic joy? It's the same thing. Or, well, no, actually no. Sympathetic joy really shows it's joy that comes out of sympathy for somebody else. Whereas joy can also come from your own belief. The causes for joy, actually, if you look in the scriptures, the causes for joy are ethical conduct, a mind that hasn't harmed anybody, so we can relax. We don't need to hide anything, neither in front of ourselves nor in front of others. We don't need to suppress anything. Another cause for joy is generosity. When you freely give, not because you have to, but because you want to. Yeah? And there also, we're not so good at that. We're always afraid that we end up poor if we give too much. So when we give, it's always kind of calculating, how much can I give so that it's not too little. So we should change this a little bit when you give something freely. How much should I give? Not how little I can give. Yeah, and that creates a much more happier mind than if you just always give the minimum. Yeah, you should give so that it makes you happy, meaning not too much and not too little. Because how can giving something too little make you happy? It's impossible. Unless you're really distorted and you're really stingy and your mind is out to get as much as you can without giving anything. That's a poverty mind. That is not a rich mind. But if you give as much as you can, immediately you have the result of feeling rich because you have something to give. When you give very little, it's a poverty mind. So nobody wants to be poor. Yeah.
I also find it helpful to think of the person I'm giving to.
Yeah.
Then it makes him happy.
Exactly. But when we're not just thinking about what I'm giving, but also when you think about the receiver. So with the generosity, very often we give away things that we don't need anymore, and then other people have to be grateful or something. Yeah. So it's the other way around. Somebody else allows you to practice generosity, which is a cause for joy. So it's actually you who should say thank you when they take it. Yeah. But we feel so noble when we give away one of our 20 sweaters because the cupboard is full and we can't put the 11th there anymore. And then we definitely choose the one that is the oldest and the one I don't want, definitely not the newest one. Yeah. So this is behavior that we start to see and that we then start to change. And then we start to experiment. Okay, I'm going to give the nice one now, not the oldest one. And then you start to see, first it's painful, because why? Because that nicest one is for me. The one, it is the other one, this one can have. Yeah. So again, just think because you already bought the sweater, it's already yours. So if you decide to give a present to a friend of yours and you go and buy a present, you wouldn't choose the cheapest quality, would you? Or would you? So since you already bought it, you don't have the suffering of having to spend money anymore. So give the nicest one. Yeah. So that is a cause for choice. Generosity, having an open heart, being able to give freely. And not just presents. When I said yesterday to negotiate with your children, you give them a gift. You were immediately thinking about something material. I was thinking about time. Give them your time. this is why we had this misunderstanding. I thought, why doesn't she want to give a gift to her
I
child?
felt it was
Because-
out of guilt, what you said.
No,
Therefore,
no,
I said
Not
that.
out of guilt, out of gratitude that she let you go. So then you say, okay, I will spend some time with her to do what she wants to do, not out of guilt. Because if you do things out of guilt, it always turns sour, because then we expect the other person to be grateful to me. So, and we forget that actually I'm doing that to repay a certain debt. Yeah? Guilt wants reward from what you're doing. But the kind of, being able to give your daughter some time, first of all, we don't have to feel guilty, and then you feel happy. When you forget what you want, and you have decided you will do what she wants. Okay? So another cause for joy is humor. Not taking yourself so seriously. And this, I think, a lot of you can improve. Especially young people. I was only once, I helped a Vipassana group they asked me to come and help with teenagers. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm happy I don't have to teach teenagers. They are so dead serious. They have zero capacity to laugh about themselves. Zero. Amazing. And so I felt really compassion for them, because I could see they cannot open up. They're so, with their hoodies and so when I came in, one was sitting there when Nif is sitting, and I stepped on his knee, kind of, and then so he looked up, and I smiled at him, and he couldn't help it. He just smiled because I smiled. So as he said. Then he kind of caught himself again. So he said, why did you do that? And I said, I just wanted to see your face. And I wanted to see if you can smile, because I think you're very unhappy. So he went back into that kind of space of serious and not wanting to have humor. And so as a teenager, you're rebellious. You don't want to do what other people tell you to do. I recognize this from my teenager time. So when somebody is able to make you laugh, you're afraid that they can manipulate you, because you lose your defenses. Yeah, so, wow, but it was so difficult. It was so difficult. And also some of the teenagers were there because they were difficult teenagers, okay? So, coming from difficult families. But some of them were there because their parents had forced them to be there. So one of them, during walking meditation, she was like this, and then she went, pom, 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 pom. And I said, hey, come on, can you walk maybe a little bit more gentle? And then she, a lot of anger. So I took her out and I said, hey, what's happening? And she said, my parents forced me to come here. And I'm angry at it. And I said, yeah, I understand. So I said, if ever I help with the teenager retreat again, the condition would be that the parents come and do this first, so that they see how difficult the Vipassana retreat is, and then they honor the effort that the children need to make. And not to think, well, I sent them there and then they come back wonderful people because they trained mindfulness. It's not fair. Yeah, so I could understand her anger. Yeah. So humor is desperately needed. Now, as you get older, either you get totally depressed about all the difficulties in life, because your eyesight goes, your hearing goes, the flexibility goes, the memory goes, and you get depressed about it, and with a lot of effort you try to kind of keep up the energy and keep up this and keep up that, or you start to laugh about it. So you have these two possibilities. Yeah. So this is why older people, they are usually better in being able to laugh about themselves. If they're not able to, if they haven't learned it in their life, they become very, very bitter in old age, and they find no more source of joy. This is why the young people here, start to develop it now. Because then in old age, when the problems kick in, then you already know it. And start to admit mistakes that you're making. We all make mistakes. It's okay. None of us is perfect. Yeah. And an arrogant mind also is always putting on a show. So that's very stressful. So with arrogance, have the courage to be the way you are. Because if you always want to be at your best, it makes life really complicated. Not just for you, but also for others. Relax. All of you have qualities that other people don't have. All of you make mistakes that other people don't make. So what? What's the big deal? None of us is perfect. You see, we're so afraid of making mistakes. And we can learn so much from mistakes. The best way to learn is making mistakes.